Okay, I'm back. Right, here we go. So, if you haven't heard or you're living under a rock, Jaguar has released their new ad. And a lot of people are really upset by it. So, I want to talk a bit about it. I'm not going to watch this whole video. There's some snippets I want to take, but there's just something I really want to talk about. Okay, so let's just have a look here quickly.
For you on the woke scandal at Jaguar after this controversial rebrand.
I'm sorry, I have to stop it right there. But woke scandal, I think that's a bit harsh, but...
So if you've forgotten, those are the guys who sell cars. Anyway, their big boss has come out today and given a response to allegations they've, quite frankly, blown up the brand. So did he fire the branding team? Did he pledge to throw millions at a new masculine petrol head such as Jeremy Clarkson to launch a brand new campaign? Or, dare I say it, did he apologise? Well, actually, it turns out it's all your faults at home for being too bigoted. Rawdon Glover, the managing director of Jaguar, said the campaign message had been lost in a, quote, blaze of intolerance, adding that the car maker must move away from traditional automotive stereotypes. Glover added that while the overall buzz of the new campaign had been very positive, he was disappointed by the, quote, level of vile hatred and intolerance in the comments regarding the individuals that appeared in the video. He went on, if we play in the same way that everybody else does, we'll just get drowned out, so we shouldn't turn up like an auto brand. OK, so there you have it. The rebrand is staying, and you're all a bunch of intolerant orcs if you don't like it. I guess the guy who's been heading up Jaguar's marketing department was right after all.
We're committed to fostering a diverse, inclusive, and unified culture that is representative not only of the people who use our products, but in a society in which we all live. And we're on a transformative journey of our own, driven by a belief in diversity, inclusion, creativity, policy, and most importantly, action.
The Labour Minister Bill Rammell, political commentator Will Kingston, and senior reporter at Guido Fawkes, Ellie Wheatley. Good evening to you all. Thank you for your company on this very chilly evening. Bill Rammell, they've doubled down, and if you don't like it, you're just a bigoted racist.
Yeah, it's totally weird. When you sent it to me this afternoon, I thought this was a GB News wind-up. And it's got echoes. For my sins, I'm still the only British minister ever to have been to North Korea and negotiated there. And I remember being taken around a goat farm, and it was only when we left we realised we hadn't seen any goats.
What was there?
And just lots of other stuff. And this has got similarities. There's nothing about cars within it.
And you know, okay, the first point here is I hear this a lot, and I've heard this a lot. It's like there's no cars in the ad. You know what? I actually really like the ad. It's really aesthetically pleasing. Okay, it's well thought out. The ad is good, and again, there are no cars in the ad. Okay, I don't have an issue with the ad at all. I think the ad is quite fun, and it is actually quite an interesting take on a rebrand for a company. But you know, there's a couple of points to bring up here, because a lot of people are looking at this from a very like traditional mindset, you know what I mean? So it's also on the points of like, are we redefining woke, or is this just progress? Like, really? I mean, the pivot here is about politics, and maybe it's also about like connecting to a new generation of buyers. Maybe are you going to stay the same, or are you going to adapt to what's new in the world? Okay, but in that very same breath, you can't be using diversified people in your ads just because they are diversified people and part of the LGBTQ, just to push a car brand. I feel like that's just a bit of a scapegoat mentality. Like, you're just going to latch onto whatever's trending to... It doesn't feel like you're driving the future. It feels like you're kind of jumping onto something that isn't really yours. I mean, we can instill emotions through a vehicle. Yeah, it's weird.
You know, look, I believe that diversity is important, but I saw a clip from, I think it was the chief executive, a few months ago, lauding the fact they got 15 equality and diversity teams. They're throwing out cars at 100 grand. a pop. You know, it's difficult to be inclusive on that basis. I think they've got it wrong. The only thing I'd say in their favour is one measure of advertising is if people are talking about it. And people are.
Yes, yeah. Ellie, is that a point? And would this make you go and buy a Jag?
Absolutely not. I mean, there is such thing as bad publicity. I mean, we saw it with Bud Light. You know, they lost nearly 1.8 billion in sales after they advertised the transgender influencer. But, you know, as Elon Musk said, do you sell cars? This advert has nothing to do with cars. And actually, people...
It's the only avenue. I mean, they go on a lot about that. But I feel like they went too far down one side of the spectrum. And it completely hurt what they were trying to bring out. I mean, why not have the same group of people driving a fucking awesome car? Right? And do the same kind of car, but do something sick with the car in it. Like, it would be really, really cool. I think a lot of the words like inclusivity and forward thinking have become a bit taboo nowadays, you know, because it's all attached to this woke mind virus that everyone keeps calling it about. A brand has to evolve, right? A brand has to think about where the future is and what's going to happen when, you know, generations fall away and new generations come up. They have to embrace change, right? They have to embrace innovation. Otherwise, you kind of aren't really making savvy business moves. You know what I'm saying? But again, you should be doing them in a way that's consistent with your brand. I mean, they've rebranded their logo, which is great. I actually like this logo. I think it's cool. A lot of people, even some young kids, like an old aesthetic. New styles that were in fashion 20, 30 years ago are now suddenly coming back. So there's no reason a company can't use its older traditions in a new way to appeal to younger audiences. So I think it's a bit rough that the internet is always so divided. I would have liked to have seen more car stuff. I don't hate the ad. I think it's actually really cool. And I'll tell you why, is because my background is in this field, okay? Within modeling and media production, content creation, all of that jazz. So I can see what they tried to do. I just think they went a bit too hard. And unfortunately, it seemed to have backfired. Critics aren't going to like it. And boomers are definitely not going to like it because they're not going to understand it. But yes, that's the Jaguar rebrand. That's really what I wanted to talk about. It's a very interesting topic, and the internet is losing their minds over all of this. I am a bit late to the bandwagon here, but I really just wanted to hear what everyone was saying about it before I kind of threw out my opinion. But anyway, that is the Jaguar rebrand and all of the shit going on behind the scenes. What do you think? What are your thoughts about the Jaguar rebrand?